Hello, Mayors. How are you all doing? I hope you're well. We're here to start another episode of Barbosa Cities, and we're already starting here in the suburbs of our French village in a very peaceful, serene, and calm atmosphere. Perfect for you to give that like at the beginning of the video and check your subscription. I really want to reach 100,000 subscribers. We're close, but the number of new subscribers has dropped a bit in the last month. So I ask you to do this little check. Hey, Mr. Zeh, how are you? So let's go. We're here taking a walk, right? Here we have our public housing area from the island's government, right? A lot of people live in these little high-density apartments, right? So how many people must live here in each... Oh, the police almost ran me over, but I'm in the middle of the street too, right? How many people must live here in each of these buildings? I got curious. I'm going to take a look at that number. But anyway, here's what I want to tell you. Oh, there's Mrs. Anna over there, sunbathing, right? Here's what I want to tell you. We base the structure of our city, well, not a city, a French village, right? On French influences, right? We took a look at Paris and other cities in France, and we try to apply that, of course, as much as possible in cities' skylines, right? Bringing these inspirations into the reality of the game. And we noticed a lot of esplanades, right? Monumental avenues that serve as visual axes for monuments. So I already decided to start today's episode by working exactly on our monumental axis here, which we built a few episodes ago and then we zoned it, right? In the last episode, this axis was zoned on both sides, and now it still needs to be made monumental. And here, at the end of this axis, we had an avenue, and this avenue curves right here at the end of the axis. I thought it didn't look very nice visually, so I decided to change it to a roundabout, which is what you're seeing in the time-lapse. And I thought it turned out really well, because the monument here, the Statue of Liberty, is a monument with a round base, and it will fit perfectly in this roundabout. It's going to look very harmonious visually. So I struggled a bit with the symmetries in the game to make sure this roundabout looked good, was the right size, and fit in nicely here in this set of roads. Because here we have this avenue, which in a way is Barramar, and we also have the two side roads of this monumental axis. One road goes one way and the other goes the opposite way. Right, each one on its side, and they would also meet here on this avenue, Barramar. So they are also accessible through the roundabouts. Very important, because this axis here leads to Station Avenue and also to the avenue by the lake, which provides access to the highway and is an entrance and exit to the village, right? After fitting the monument here and making the roundabout, I started working on the monumentality of this axis, which is to turn it into a park, right? I wanted to create long walking paths, very straight and with direct symmetry pointing to both ends, right? Both to our botanical garden near the station and to the Statue of Liberty. So this straight axis really helps guide your gaze toward the horizon. And on the horizon, you'll see these two monuments. I also planted trees, right, on the sides. I planted very tall and narrow trees, which are these pine trees here. I haven't used them much in this series, but I think they match this French architecture exactly because of the climate, right? Maybe not from France in the south in the Mediterranean, but from France further north in the Normandy region, or that border area with Switzerland, the Netherlands, Belgium, more towards that region. And then here in the center, along the path, I also placed trees, but smaller ones, right? I think they are, if I'm not mistaken, London plane trees. And they're located here in the center of this walking path, right? This promenade. And then I added some secondary paths. Secondary does exist, because a lot of people keep saying that the word secondary doesn't exist. Secondary does exist. It's because, guys, there's a lot for me to pay attention to here. Details, routes, planning, thinking, and then I end up going kind of on autopilot. But anyway, along these secondary paths, I also placed some smaller trees. Right? So they don't draw attention away from the monuments and the main axis, okay? So there's smaller trees like the apple tree, which is really small, and also some bushes that are scattered randomly near the paths. And then I also worked on the grass texture, right? I made the grass greener where there are trees, and where there aren't any trees, I used that striped treated grass, and I thought that, in the end, the result was amazing. I'll show you now, wrapping up this time lapse. And look, even from a distance, you can already see this axis, and it really gave the city a whole new look. As we get closer, we can see the roundabout here, right? It's a little to the left because it needed to be on this side to line up with the road here, you see? Because if it were a little more over here, look, it wouldn't be aligned with the axis, which is the main reason this esplanade exists, right? And on this side here too, we can see that it's aligned with the botanical garden. Maybe I'll do something here too, so we can get a nice sight line from here. I don't know if it'll be necessary either, because the person walking here, let's walk, see? They can see the statue on one side and the botanical garden on the other. And I don't know, if there's a tower back there, I think it would look good, right? But anyway, people are walking around. There are already a lot of people walking here. The French village already has 8,000 residents, 8,000 inhabitants, and they're out on the streets. I'm really liking this result, and I want to know your opinion, all right? Look at this view, man. What a view. You can take a really cool selfie here. Not to mention, look, the architecture too, the facades and storefronts. This is the part where there aren't any trees. Look, the grass is different from this part here where there are trees, right? No, this one doesn't have stripes, and this one does. Look, it looks really cool. And here, look, the beautiful French architecture, right? On both sides of the roads next to our park, right? I want to know your opinion. What did you think of this park? It looks completely different now, doesn't it? But anyway, now let's think about how we can really enhance our village and make it a more tourist-friendly place, right? I want to put up some monuments. Man, hold on a second. Before we talk about the monuments, the statue not being centered in the roundabout, maybe, there's someone in the comments saying it's triggering their OCD. So, what am I going to do? I think I'm going to try to make a half moon of grass here, at least to make it look like intentional landscaping, to symbolize a waxing or waning moon. Right, depending on the point of view. Look, there we go. We have a half moon here. I'll even add some grass, some vegetation here, some bushes, and voila. I hope this has minimized the OCD for the people with OCD. It even looks kind of Islamic, right? Because they use this half-moon symbol a lot, but there it is, you see. It looks nice, man. Even the view here from our esplanade looks nice. And now going back to talking about landmarks, I almost said political ones. The tourist landmarks, we have here Notre Dame, right? Which is a famous medieval Gothic cathedral in France. And I wanted a prominent spot, right? I didn't want to put it on a hidden block around here, and the prominent spaces here are kind of already scarce, okay? Here, I think it would be too far from the center, so maybe it wouldn't make sense, but the center, right, is already pretty crowded, and here the land isn't completely flat, right? Especially for a construction of this magnitude. I don't know if here, look, would be nice, right? Right on top of the hill. Usually, churches are located on top of hills. And look, it actually looks nice, but I don't know if it would look good here or maybe even better here. Look on the edge of the lake, because then you could see the cathedral from anywhere on the lake too. I think it would stand out more than here, because here you can only see a little bit of its facade, right? Or if you're here, you only see the front. Here, look, from the esplanade, right? If you're here, look, you can't see the church that well either, right? You see the tip of it there and all, but yeah, it's still a beautiful view. I think it's beautiful to have something so imposing standing out compared to the other buildings. But here, right, there could even be boat rides around it. I'll even take this off here so we can see what this cathedral would look like here, right? Then you compare and tell me, please, what you think looks better. I'll show you how it looks here on the lake. I'm just going to reconnect here where our road network was disconnected, right? And then, look, the church, right, would look like this here, right? It could be seen both from here and by those coming down from the station, right? You could see it already, look. Yeah, later I'll detail this waterfront around the lake, right? When we already have the buildings on it, right? Meanwhile, whoever is here can also see it well. Look, whoever is here in the first-person camera can see it from this location. The statue too, look. From here too, look, it's very visible. And let me see from here now. Whoever is here will also have a nice view of its side from here. Including this garden that's back here, look. You could extend this path, see? Then you would make an extension of the garden here. Anyway, leave a comment. I want to know. Leave your opinion in the comments. I could even, regardless of your choice, divide this up into lots. I'm even going to put a mixed-use zone facing the lake here, right? Because I imagine there would be a lot of stores. But let it grow, right? Another monumental feature we have is here in the area of tourist attractions. Not tourist attractions, landmarks, which also really reminds me of France. This National Air Gallery, man, it's huge, okay? Here, no way. No, it can't go here. Maybe here, look, we could even place this gallery. Let's see if it distorts the terrain too much here. Not really, it distorts, but not that much. Let's see how it would look here, right? It would actually look really, really beautiful. I just think it would be a little far from the center here. If we placed it here, look, would it be a good idea on this avenue? Right, this avenue is a little curved up ahead because of this workaround I did. But if we disable the road snapping here, we can position it a little further back, see? So that it doesn't touch the avenue here. And it still stays connected, right? Whoa, what's this, man? Look at the uneven ground. Okay, the entrance is on the other side, hold on. Now it's facing the right way, but there's still a slope here. Now it's done. Now it worked. Yeah, I think this spot would be much more appropriate, okay? I think over here it feels kind of isolated, right? There are still some central monuments here. Actually, here we have this architecture that's different from the French style we're using. And I'm not liking it. So I'm going to end up switching to the French mixed-use style here. It already brings more housing to buy in this commercial area. I think from here on, I won't use the French style anymore, okay? Here, I'll start mixing it up. Here, look, we have a ramp, right? This hill here, this slope, turned out kind of weird. Maybe there's a way to fix it by putting a kai here. Look, just on this side. Over here too, then it looks... Yeah, it looks okay. Let's see if with the path we can connect these other entrances and exits, right? That are here. Or maybe just level the ground here, and that's it. From here to there, we can also do some construction, right? Bringing this street across to the other side of the avenue so it meets with an art gallery. We can put parking here too, see? Nice, right? I think we managed to soften these steep slopes a bit. I'm just going to make a slight, subtle slope for this ramp here. All right, I think it's looking pretty good, right? Here I'm gonna make a path underneath, right? For anyone who wants to walk through here, right? Check this out, man. People are coming over here, look. Floating, levitating, oh nice. You could, right? Put stairs here if the game had anything related to stairs, right? But unfortunately it doesn't. But that's it, right guys? We adapt here in whatever way we can to the challenges the game throws at us, right? Look, and that's how we got around the problem with that weird terrain, right? It fit in pretty well. I don't think it turned out bad at all. It looks really cool. And the avenue, right? It looks really monumental too, right? With 4 lanes. Here's the National Art Museum. Look, this part can't be zoned, right? Because of this junction, right? That curves outward. I think even if I remove the zoning from here, look, yeah, it doesn't make the zoning face this way. So I'm going to try to place it manually with Move It. Just kidding, it's not Move It. I just disabled snapping here. This one is a crematorium that I'm going to place around here. And over here, we can put one of those small plazas with trees. And we don't have any. Absolutely none. A French-style signature building still isn't unlocked yet, okay? In none of the zoning types, look, all locked. We have 200, look, for example. This one here, we have 262 level 3 cells, we need 2,000. So it's still a long way off, okay? For us to be able to use this here, well, to wrap up, I actually want to build a bus terminal now. And I think I might even remove this commercial area from here. This residence too, right? So we can use this space, you know? It's a very central area that's vacant, and we can make good use of it, right? And use it. There's this one here, look, it's really big, man. And there's this one that's more like a building. We've already used the small one, right? Over there on Asian Island. A lot of people didn't like that I used the small one there. This one is very much like a small town too, right? So let's use this one, man. Right? It's cute, and it'll fit here. I'll see, maybe I'll make a one-way street here. Taking advantage of these corners. To be the entrance and exit, see? Of the terminal, like here. Do you think it would look good? Is it uneven? No, it's because it goes down here, see? The road goes down. And here, there's no entrance or exit connection, see? So hold on, I'll have to fix this here. Okay, I think now it looks pretty good. This parking lot here. I'm not sure if cars will be able to come, right? Because of this bus-only lane. But here's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to take it. I can't make a street here because it connects to the terminal, right? If I lower this whole area to the same level as the terminal, right? The terminal is already lowered. Would that look good? Let's test it. And then I would only lower this side, right? The side by the train tracks. I think I'd leave the other side high like this. That's because I plan to zone this area here later, right? This side of the avenue here. I'm gonna make an exit over here too, right? Because what if the bus, right, wants to come this way? So it doesn't cause congestion here, it can exit onto this street. And I think the same logic applies here on the other side as well. Now the question is, do people actually get here using these bus roads? I don't think so, right? Because there's no sidewalk. Well, I connected a path here. There's another one here too, look, that we can connect over here. And what I want to do, look, it was to take this walkway here, look, using anarchy, you see, and connect it right here on this other side, okay? Oh man, look how cute this walkway would look here. Connecting this street too, right? But since the series is vanilla, I can't. So I'll just leave it like this. And the people who walk around here, look. But here I'm gonna put some nice offices, okay? I think I can put something different here. Because if I use this French style, what we're going to see here from the bus station, right? It'll be this back part of the buildings, right? And then it doesn't look so nice. It doesn't look so pretty. Let's check the sizes here. Yeah, maybe it has to be like this. Look, 3 by 3. Let's see if it grows nicely. Man, this is going to be really tall, huh? Judging by the size of the cranes, it's going to be kind of tall. Maybe I'll take advantage of the bus station space here to actually put some different and bigger buildings, right? To break up the French style a little here. Man, there are a lot of people here, huh? Wow, a lot of people. Where are all these people coming from and where are they going? All from the station, maybe? The station is full. It's really full, right? And the train is leaving with 260-something people. But let's get started here. Let's already create a line, right? The first line. We can make 6 lines here in the city. I think that'll be enough. I want a line that goes to the industries, right? After all, the purpose of this city existing is also to supply the industries here with labor. And the port, right? Or I can use this line that already exists. Here, look. It actually starts from this industry, right? It goes through Villa Inglesa and ends here, right? In this port area, on this side here. I could extend it to this terminal, right? The line isn't used that much. Look, only 18 uses. It's the least used line. So I think this extension is worth it. I'll even redo it from scratch. And then I'm going to remove these bus stops from inside here, right? Because getting in and out isn't that easy. The buses would have to keep turning around. I'll put a stop here. Right here, look, inside the port itself, because here it will already serve, theoretically, for those who work at this factory, and also for those who work at the port, right? At the port itself. So, look, the bus turns around here, it stops at this stop, right? It provides access for the workers, right? Who take this path here to reach this industrial area. Then it comes here, look, to the port, right? It stops here. And then it serves those who actually work at the port, and those who work at this factory, right? So, it's a very strategic stop. After that, it comes back here and goes to our French city, right? I'm going to put a stop right here, then make the return route. I can put a stop here too. It's a stop, right? Because this area is already urbanized. So, it would be interesting to put a stop here. Over here, for now, there won't be a stop, right? Because there's nothing there, and we make the return route. Stop here. And we have to stop here at this other point, right? Because if someone is in French Village and wants to come to this factory, right, they need to have access. So they get on here, Villa Inglesa, and the route ends at the point where it started, which is at this factory here, from Villa Asiatica, with the satellite city here, satellite neighborhood, right? Well, the buildings grew here, okay? These two here. It didn't turn out so well. Because they're repeated, right? I'll see if another one grows. I didn't like this one, because the back of it is really smooth, right? There's nothing there. It's just plain concrete. So I think another type of building could also grow. Let's see here, not the Chinese one, just the generic high-density style. Let's see if anything changes. These ones, look. This one actually looks nice, right? It fits well, I think, with almost everything. And here, it's the same problem as the other one, right? Repeated building with a big wall on the back. Let's check this one, right? See if it won't disappoint us. Some popped up here, look, smaller ones. That's good, could work. These ones, look, repeated again. Oh, this one is much better, okay? This one is a bit better. I think I'll leave these two here, okay? I even put some little squares here in this triangle. And it's pretty busy, man. I just didn't like it because the paving in each square ended up being a different color. See, here is one color, here it's another. That's why I did what? I removed it, okay? I only left these here because I managed to make them pretty much the same color. I'm fixing up these offices here too, look. With some paths back here, right? So they don't end up on the slope, right? And so people here at the terminal don't have to look at the slope either. And I'll tell you folks, truth be told, right? The city is pretty busy, right? Just look at the sidewalks here, see? There are already a lot of people. Let me see, how many thousand inhabitants do we have now with these new additions? 17,600 inhabitants, and there's no traffic at all, okay? The road system here is really good, right? Very smooth, okay? And man, I've been enjoying it, okay? I've been enjoying it a lot. People also move around here, right? There's an entrance over here, see, that comes from the other side of the island. There's this entrance here, look, which is also pretty calm. And the vast majority come in through here, but it's pretty chill too. So I hope it stays this way. But that's it, right? The terminal is officially open. The Esplanade is officially open. We need to bring more people, right? Because the businesses are lacking customers. But we'll talk about that in the next episodes. Here it looks a bit empty, right? Actually, it is kind of empty in this area, but I'll do this side later. And then I think this part will look really nice, okay? People are already starting to gather here on the platform, right? And when it's time to catch our new bus line, look, people here are using this stop, right? Just like I predicted. Retangulo Gamer, David Silva, David Trajano, Hike Queiroz, Guilherme, Giovanni Perez, Thais, Ed Moreno, André, Johnny Edson, Rafael Caetano, Bruno Ferreira, João Vitor, Giovanni Freitas, José Fernando, and Nagal. Names immortalized for being members here on the channel and for being together with the secretary tier members watching this video ahead of time. Their names also immortalized here in the credits. Together, of course, obviously, with our counselor tier members who are the foundation and pillar of this channel. To all of you, my deepest thanks. And last but not least, my special thanks to you who aren't a member but are subscribed and hitting like. You never miss an episode here on Barbosa Cities. You eagerly wait for the Vale Central videos. This channel is made for you. So enjoy. We're always in this together. A big hug. See you next time, and bye.